Hi, folks. Paul Green here. Question. Do you think you need anything beyond technical ability to succeed? Now, early in my engineering career, my focus was on increasing my technical knowledge. I remember at one job, at one company, where they sent us to a training center for, it was somewhere between 6 and 8 weeks, I believe. And that was already after we had been at the job for a month to learn all the basics. And I remember the other engineers at that local office telling me to focus on learning and getting good grades while I was at that school. And that was my focus. Our grades were posted for all to see. It was anonymous, names weren't actually shown. And after a few weeks, my name was at the top of the list of around 24 students. And I thought justifiably proud. And then it was time for the mid-semester, if you want to call it that, review with the instructors. And they said I wasn't being social enough. I was shocked. I wasn't trying to be social. I was focusing on getting good grades and trying to be and have fun with my newlywed wife at the time. I believe I was the only one who brought their spouse to the class. It was a couple hundred miles from where we lived. Naturally, I changed my behavior for the second half of that course, and I vaguely remember my grade reflecting that at the time. I didn't do as well. And that first review made its way back to my home office, and I remember my manager at the time essentially giving me a light scolding on getting such a review. And quite honestly, I was pissed. I thought I was focusing on what they told me to. Either way, water under the bridge, and I did learn a valuable lesson in life at that time. That you won't get very far with just technical knowledge. You need people skills. Dale Carnegie realized this 100 years ago. Have you ever read his classic book, How to Win Friends and Influence People? The first and still the best book of its kind, the only book you need to lead you to success, by Dale Carnegie. This was first published in 1936, and that was after 15 years of experiments and research that went into it all. Now, the term emotional intelligence didn't exist back then, but that's essentially what he's writing about. He and others found, even back then, that only 15% of your financial success comes from technical knowledge. 85% comes from your skill in dealing with others. Simply put, if you've got both skills, you'll make more money. Depends on what your goals are. So many books are based on what's really covered here. Books by John Maxwell, Stephen Covey, Napoleon Hill, plenty of others come to mind. And those books helped me a lot over the years. And I'll be the first to admit I needed the help, especially for what I wanted to accomplish in one organization that I was involved with for 30 years. Eventually became president, so I was able to lead others. Because with issues like these, it's better to not make the mistakes yourself. It really is better to learn from others, and especially if that is based on research. So I don't even want to try and attempt to summarize all the material here. That wouldn't be fair, but to at least tickle your interest in reading it, I'll let you know that the book's broken down into 4 parts. Part 1, are any of these of interest? Part 1 covers techniques to handle people. Part 2 covers 6 ways to make people like you. Part 3 covers how to win people over to your way of thinking. Now, you might think in today's political climate that might be helpful, but the first chapter in that section is you can't win an argument. And I think with a lot of what's going on now, it's a little more than just arguments. But maybe it can help. And finally, part 4 is on leadership. How you can get people to change without them getting offended or having resentment. So do you think you could benefit from any of that? The book's been a classic for 85 years, and if you haven't read it, if you're possibly wondering why you may not be advancing as far or maybe as fast as you think you should, you might want to give this a read. So that's all for now. Again, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. If you've got any thoughts or you'd like to leave some comments, please do. Love to hear them, and please go to my YouTube channel. I'll add this to my playlist on life. So that's all for now. See you next time.